Welcome to Pioneers in Payments, where payments experts share their insights. Now, here's our host, Donna Blum.
Welcome, everyone. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Clint Cady from Capra Consulting. Welcome, Clint.
Hi, Donna. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you so much for having me this lovely fall afternoon.
The pleasure is all ours. Clint, to get us started, would you mind sharing a little bit with our audience about yourself, your background in the payments industry, and the work that you do there at Capra Consulting?
Sure. So, Donna, I'm one of the partners at Capra Consulting Group. We are a professional services firm based out of Chicago, Illinois, with an office in Nashville, Tennessee, and then consultant spread across US and Canada. The motto of our firm is enabling secure commerce everywhere. So we take that, into many of our different client engagements as it relates to payments, or if it relates to fraud, loyalty, consumer engagement, et cetera, where we're trying to just enable that commerce component for many of our clients. At Capra, right, we focus on a wide variety of verticals, from retail to subscription to convenience and energy, pharmacy, QSR, and dining, where we really help with what we call the full life cycle engagement, helping with put together different payment strategies or technology roadmaps, supplier selections, and then moving into the actual implementation, helping a lot with design, architecture, development, quality assurance and certification, and then eventual deployment. So I've been in the payments industry. I actually had to think about it right before this interview. I've now been in the industry for over 15 years. Did not think it had been that long, but I've been with Capra since 2011. So at Capra, I started off, as a consultant, and then moved into management, where now I have responsibility across many of our functions, from business development, account management, product and service development, as well as delivery execution.
Wow. Well, you certainly have a wealth of knowledge and expertise, and we're looking forward to just gleaning a few words of wisdom from you here today. So, Clint, there's a lot happening in the industry, as you know. What would you say is the most notable trend in the payments industry today?
It's a great question. It's a very big question. If I had to boil it down, it's not one individual trend as it relates to a piece of functionality or a different product or service. It's really where we see the biggest impact is around the pace of change. The pace of change has just, accelerated exponentially because of a pandemic. And, now that we are coming, or I'm hoping we're out of a pandemic, seems that we're out of a pandemic, but what we saw is, a number of retailers, many of our clients, they had to pivot instantly, right? They weren't, maybe equipped to set up to only have a digital only offering, or a buy online, pick up curbside, right? I don't think anyone had ever really, besides maybe some grocers, had really done the curbside pickup. But again, them, kind of evolving to meet their consumer, one, not just expectations, but how they could engage with their consumers was actually fascinating to watch, and, actually help some of those solutions come to market. The pace of change that we see with technology innovation, one of the hardest things that, we see that, companies, these tier one retailers, across any number of verticals, the hardest thing for them to tackle is how to kind of cut through all the noise or confusion, right? There's so many, you mentioned, right, what's a notable trend? Well, there's so many buzzwords, out there, from cryptocurrency and alternative payments to real-time payments, frictionless checkout like Amazon Go and Grabango and Standard AI, pinless debit routing and network tokenization, buy now, pay later, right? And the list goes on and on. And, you know, not all of those products and services are a fit for every company, right? And so I think, you know, one of the things with that pace of change and the technology innovation, that trend we're seeing, helping, you know, retailers kind of put a focus onto where they need to actually focus on has been an exciting, you know, 2 to 3 years. The other component that I would say is because of that technology innovation and speed of change, companies are having to redefine, you know, what their technology platforms look like, and they have to be able to be nimble. And what I mean by that is there's so many things that I might need to test one thing and it might work and it might not work. But if it takes me 18 months and takes me a lot of money that I have to spend internally just to pilot a proof of concept, I've already missed the mark, right? And so we've definitely seen companies have now taken a step back and said, all right, well, where am I trying to go? Okay, now where are the gaps that I have? And then how do I kind of, you know, fill in the gaps there and kind of get to that part where I can do a proof of concept that I want to market cryptocurrency. Not saying that that's the right answer, but it's something that they might want to try.
Sure. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. The need to really focus in, and then also, you know, just doing, I think, a lot of homework, and perhaps learning from others who are early adopters, so that proof of concept, or, you know, it doesn't take so long, right? You know, 18 months is a long time right now. If it takes that long.
Yeah. And I use the 18 months as a kind of like a thumb, as a kind of a thumb in the air, right? You know, it doesn't always take 18 months, but, you know, being able to test things in weeks instead of months is definitely where we see kind of those leading retailers go. But you're absolutely right. Not everyone, you know, that's not everyone's culture to be a trailblazer. Some people, and it's okay to be a fast follower. You know, you don't have to be the first to market. And actually, some of our clients, they say we don't want to be the first to market.
Yeah, let somebody else,
you know,
learn what's broken and fix it before
exactly
we have to
work out all those kinks. Yeah,
That's
work
right.
out all the kinks.
So moving on to the next question, what would you say is the biggest opportunity for organizations that process payments today?
Right. So, you know, earlier I had hit on kind of, you know, we're emerging out of the past 2 years that we had never, you know, kind of seen anything like that before. So we're living in a much different world than where we were 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So again, now retailers that have survived and gotten through that, where we see our clients really focusing on is that strategy. And it's that component to say, you know, how do payments is one way to engage with your consumers, but it's not the most important or only way to engage with your consumers. But that meeting their expectations, and expectation, we have a term at Capra that we use, expectation transference, is right. Consumers, you know, have an experience with retailer A. You can say it's buying a hamburger or buying a piece of clothing, and they have a really, really good experience because they got some real-time messaging where they got a 50% off for this thing that they know that they've been wanting, and they have this great experience. Well, then they take that experience and that transfers to how they expect to be interacted with every other company. And so a lot of the work and a lot of the opportunity that we see is, how do you combine all of these components in meeting your consumers' needs, where payments actually becomes one arrow in the quiver of, right, giving them the right payment methods, or making sure that we are always up to accept an order, right? They're all important, but again, it all rounds back to what that consumer is expecting and what they want.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so that's the greatest opportunity. What would you say is the biggest challenge for organizations that process payments?
It's a hard one. when I look to, some of our clients and some other companies out there that I think that are very successful as it relates to payments, it comes down to that they are organizationally aligned. And what I mean by that is that payments are what I term as cross-function, right? They impact many pieces of the business. Now, where payments lives within an organization, that can range, right? It could be within treasury, it can be within IT, it can be within marketing. But again, having that sort of cross-functional alignment and kind of that buy-in from the executive leadership level is we see as very key. Because once you have that, you can then say, all right, well, what's our consumer engagement strategy and how do payments play into that? And what is our redundancy and high availability strategy from an infrastructure perspective, and how the payments play into that? And again, having the kind of alignment ensures that payments does get priority, right? And it's, I hate to say it, and, even some prior experience before I started consulting, right? Payments could be just, someone else's half a job, right? And it's becoming, one of the biggest, P&L drivers, where again, because of how technology with payments has changed, it can't be just one person's job anymore, especially as, companies grow to tier 1 organizations.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. It seems unrealistic to put all of that on one person.
Some do.
Yeah, maybe not successfully though.
Well, yeah.
So my favorite question is the silver bullet piece of advice. So if you had to provide payments organizations with one silver bullet piece of advice, what would that be?
So not to sidestep the question, but I would say that they shouldn't have a single bullet. They should have multiple silver bullets or multiple arrows in the quiver, as I referenced earlier. Payments can't be viewed in a singular lens, right? It's not about we want the lowest cost for our payments, and it's not that we want making sure that we just have high availability and we can route to multiple transaction endpoints. There's other components in, when we started, I said the motto W Capra is secure commerce everywhere, enabling secure commerce everywhere. That is because payments is a component of commerce, but there's other things that need to be layered in around fraud, around loyalty, messaging. What are my data analytics, and how do I use machine learning to drive insights that can then fuel all of this? Those all combine together. So I would say having silver bullets of each of those is what will make these organizations the most successful.
That makes sense. Well, before I let you go, I want to make sure that our audience knows how to learn more about Capra Consulting. So where would they go for more information?
Donna, there's a number of ways. We do have a blog post called Capra Plus that, a few times a month we are publishing articles on, new industry hot topics as they come about. We can also be found on LinkedIn and other social media platforms. And then if there's specific inquiries, we do have an info@wcapra.com email that inbox is monitored. So if there are people in the audience that do have specific questions and want to reach out directly, they can do so through that channel as well.
Great. Well, Clint, I just want to thank you so much for your time today and for your words of wisdom. And I also just want to thank everybody for watching. Have a great day.
Thank you.